What's up, NBA fans? Today's show, all about the NBA trade deadline. We're less than a week away from that February 8th trade deadline, and who are the top players in the association that could be on the move? We'll talk about the top 15 in my eyes and Chat Sports' eyes on today's video. But before we jump into that, I want to challenge the NBA fans. Can we get to 100 likes in the first hour of this being out? I think we can prove to the bosses that you want more NBA content on the Chat Sports main channel. Let's get to 100 likes in the first hour. I'm watching you, and I know who doesn't like the video. All right, let's jump into number one on the list, and that is Dejounte Murray, the talented point guard in Atlanta. There's a lot of rumors buzzing around him. Could it have been Miami? Is it going to be Los Angeles? Well, Miami went with Terry Rozier just a week ago, and now Dejounte Murray's kind of left on an island of, well, is he really going to be dealt at all? I still think he does get traded because that backcourt between him and Trae Young just obviously isn't working. The two don't mesh whatsoever, and Dejounte Murray can get the Hawks some assets in a deal with maybe the Lakers or not. He's having a career year, scoring, shooting from beyond the arc. Dejounte Murray, a once talented floor general for Greg Popovich's Spurs, now could be on the move as the number one guy at the deadline. Let's move to number two, Zach LaVine. And I'll tell you what, the market for LaVine has certainly died down. The rumors about him potentially getting traded came out maybe earlier than anyone, back in late October, early November. But after his injury and then his return, and then he's missed the last couple of games, the trade talks have absolutely cooled on Zach LaVine. I've been a big fan of LaVine's game for a long time, but I just don't really know if there's a lot of teams out there that want the services of Zach LaVine anymore, which is kind of crazy to think about, but it's really the case. Number three on the list, Kyle Kuzma, the forward from the Washington Wizards. Number three on your list, yeah, it's a little bit of a weak deadline, if you will, but he's had a decent year in the Capitol. 22 points, 6.5 rebounds. His efficiency has been down. But what intrigues me personally about Kyle Kuzma is his size. He's 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan. He's had good defensive seasons in the past, not so much in Washington over the last 2 years, but that could be because of the brand of basketball the Wizards actually play. And the report surrounding Washington is that the asking price on Kuzma has actually lowered. It came out earlier this season that the Wizards wanted to get 2 first-round picks in return for Kyle Kuzma. I don't really know if you're going to get that, and that's why there was a report today or a couple days ago from The Athletic that said it's probably not going to be 2 first-round picks. It's probably going to be somewhere just a little bit less than that, whether it be 1 first-round pick and a okay player, or maybe just a couple players that have the value of a first-round pick. So you don't expect the Kuzma to go out for some big, massive deal like the Wizards initially wanted. Who will be the best player traded before February 8th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time? That is the exact date where you can't make any more trades. Who will be the best player moved? Trading question, will it be Dejounte? Will it be Kuzma? Will it be Zach LaVine? Will it be someone else? Let's move over to the West and go look at Malcolm Brogdon, the guard for the Portland Trailblazers, has been certainly dealt quite a bit in his career from Indiana, now Boston, and likely again in Portland. He's been solid. He's just a really good two-way guy. I really like his fit in New York if they're looking to add another guard, because he would be a perfect guard to back up Brunson as they lost Emmanuel quickly, but also play alongside him potentially at some points during the game. DeMar DeRozan, we're going to Chicago once again. I don't know if DeRozan gets dealt, if we're going to be honest, but I think there is a possibility that DeRozan gets moved. He would certainly help any contender. He's improved his spot-up three-point shooting this year, which makes him a little more enticing for some guys, because DeRozan used to only make an impact with the ball in his hands and in the mid-range, but now that he's developed a little bit of a three-point shooting game, DeMar could be an enticing trade candidate for opposing teams that are looking to contend. A guy that I really like, number 6, Alex Caruso, the guard from Chicago. That's 3 Bulls in the top 6 if you're keeping count, by the way. Caruso is just a fantastic fantastic basketball player. The raw statistics are not going to come out and wow you, but what does he bring to the table? He brings the intangibles, he brings hustle, he brings effort, the ability to lock down opposing teams' best perimeter scorer. Oh, and he's added a 40.9% three-point jumper this season. If I'm a contender, I am absolutely calling the Chicago Bulls about Alex Caruso. I mean, there's just so many people that could use the services of Caruso. He can defend your best player as long as he's not a center, or maybe a Kevin Durant 6'10 guy. But he even put up a fight when the Bulls and Suns played earlier this season. Caruso has done a fantastic job this year, upping his trade value, upping why contenders should want him, and you wonder what his value is. There's a report just like Kuzma where you can go for 2 firsts. Will be that, will be less that, or will the Bulls try to keep him on their roster moving forward? Someone that I really do expect to be traded is Bruce Brown. He's got a Pacers jersey on. Well, that's because he was already traded once this year in the Pascal Siakam blockbuster with him going to Indiana. Bruce Brown expected to be rerouted from Toronto. $22+ million this season. That's what he's getting paid. Bruce Brown, man. I think he gets dealt, but it makes it tricky with his salary. I can't believe the Pacers gave him that contract in the offseason. We still got 8 names to get to, but I got a little hungry. And if you're getting hungry, check out Factor Meals and get 50% off with code NBAChat50 at factormeals.com/NBAChat50. Well, Rolly? Well, Nick, what is Factor Meals? Let me tell you. It's ready-to-eat meal delivery that goes right to your door. Yes, it's shipped right to your door. It helps take the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success. Get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. Over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan and veggie, and there's more. There's also over 55 weekly add-ons. You'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options in this year. Forget frantic lunch preps and rush dinners. Factor's 2-minute meals are your secret weapon in 2024. Fuel up fast with restaurant-quality meals, all delivered right to your door. Also, if things get busy, I understand it. I'm super busy as well. Factor is flexible. Change your order up every week with plans ranging from 4 to 18 meals. You can pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime. So head to factormeals.com/NBAChat50 and use code NBAChat50 to get 50% off. That's code NBAChat50 at factormeals.com/NBAChat50 to get 50% off. That link is in the comments and description of today's video. Moving on to Bogdan Bogdanovic, the marksman in the ATL. I'm a big fan of his game. You've seen him have success in Sacramento, now having a good year for the Atlanta Hawks. And I tell you what, you see the three-point shooting percentage on screen, I'm convinced he shoots 50% from the field. I do not care. Every time I've watched the Hawks play this year, which I'm not going to sit up here and say I've watched every single Hawks basketball game, but I've seen about double digits, I'd say. I swear he makes 4 threes a night. He's got a silky smooth stroke that gets released at a lightning pace. It's hard to contest his shot, and you can tell he can score from all 3 levels of the court. 3-point range, inside the mid-range. He can even hit a little teardrop shot. Bogdanovic, someone that could be a perfect sixth-man scoring guy off the bench for any contender. Let's keep it with a Bogdanovic. But this one's Bojan Bogdanovic, the forward from Detroit. I know there's a lot of rumors and reports out there that the Pistons do not want to trade Bojan. That's completely fine. But if he was available, which I think he might actually be available, he would be someone anybody would want. He is a 20-point-per-game scorer that can really light it up at all 3 levels of the offensive court. In the half court, he can really take control of your offense, be a catch-and-shoot guy. I love the game of Bojan Bogdanovic. I'm also a big fan of Dorian Finney-Smith, the Brooklyn Nets forward, and as they've had a horrific year down in Brooklyn, Finney-Smith could be on the move, a perfect 3-and-D type player. He's had a rough month of January shooting the ball. Good news is we're now in the month of February, and maybe the month of love is going to show Dorian Finney-Smith some love as he rebounds to shoot some good hoops. Man, he's just a winning basketball player. Not much more I can say about Dorian Finney-Smith. We are less than a week away from the NBA trade deadline. Make sure you subscribe. We will have you covered up to the minute. to the deadline. Once that timer passes, 3 p.m. Eastern time on February 8th, we won't leave either. Make sure you subscribe to Chat Sports and stay alerted on NBA Now videos when we put them out. All right, final 5 names here. Andrew Wiggins will start us off. And, well, this might not be a top trade candidate. It's like a top 15 player that can be dealt. Maybe this is more just likelihood of Wiggins being traded. Because, unfortunately, for my main man, Andrew Wiggins, and I like Wiggy's game. I'm a big fan. He's a negative asset now, man. This is the first year of a 4-year extension where he's making $24 million per season. And it's been ugly, man. He's shooting less than 30% from 3, less than 40% from the field. He still has the ability to play good defense and be an energy guy, but his shooting stroke has just gone so far downhill. I hope he can turn it around, but Wiggins might be moved off for Golden State's purposes to save some money and maybe recoup some assets. Tyus Jones, another guy I'm a big fan of, the point guard in Washington. I believe that he's in his final year of his contract for the Wizards, and he is just a floor general. One of the best assist-to-turnover ratios in NBA history. He just never turns the ball over. Can absolutely run any offense as a backup guard. And if you're a contender looking to shore up that backcourt on the bench, Tyus Jones is your guy. Intriguing name, PJ Washington. Maybe the first ever player in NBA history to be clowned while scoring 40 points per game or 40 points in a game. I mean, he got absolutely shredded when he scored 40 a week ago because of everyone scoring 40 in the NBA. But he can shoot the ball, he can defend, he can rebound. PJ's an interesting name to keep your eye on. How about another scoring guard that can come off the bench or start? Gary Trent Jr. I'm a big fan of his game. I've watched him a couple times this year, and he's just absolutely lit it up every time I've watched. Maybe I've caught him on his good nights, but Gary Trent Jr. is someone that could space the floor, be a knockdown marksman from beyond the arc, and also take the ball on the deck and get to the rack and collapse the defense. Gary Trent Jr. intrigues me on someone who could get moved, as the Raptors have no hope of competing this season. Final name on today's video. How could we not name D'Angelo Russell? Well, we couldn't. That's why he's on the list. D'Angelo Russell has been an intriguing name this entire year as the Lakers have looked to move off of him and had been the main piece going back to Atlanta in that hypothetical Dejounte Murray trade. One intriguing thing, though, as D'Angelo Russell has had a fantastic January, though. 13 games played, and he has just been terrific. 22.7 points per night while shooting 48% from the field and 46% from 3. D'Lo is absolutely lighting it up in the new year, and if he continues to play like this, I get it. He's not the defender that Dejounte Murray could be in that purple and gold, but it's hard for me to believe that Murray would be able to provide better offense than what D'Lo has shown in the 13 games in 2024. So we are closer and closer to the deadline, and I wanted to pose this hypothetical situation, a little more than or less than, to take advantage of Prize Picks, who also sponsors the show at times. More or less than 13 trades made at that NBA trade deadline. Let's say starting from now until February 8th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. More or less than 13. Type more if you think more. Type L if you think less. Before we hop out of here, make sure you give me a follow on Twitter at Nick_Roloff. I'm talking hoops every single day. And hey, if you want to follow me, you can also send me a DM. Ask me a question. I'm open. Those DMs are not private. I'll answer. I'll respond. Give me a follow on Twitter.